Alright everyone, welcome back to Mobile Mukbang. We are at Arby's, a place where either you hate it or you love it, you have one feeling for it, or the exact opposite, depending on how your stomach handles the food. The subject of many different discussions and as seen on South Park. So, we have got a variety of different things here, but first let's do a quick roll call. So I'm Andrew.
Sam.
Michael.
And Alan.
As our guest. So, everyone's got the curly fries. We all know about them curly fries, but let's do our classic food roll call.
I want to make one quick interruption, just on the simple fact that these are a heated dessert. Everyone, go ahead and dig in on the little Oreo dough ball things.
Thank you.
Let's try it.
It's like a little Oreo.
Yeah, Oreo bites.
You know what? I have a friend whose mom makes like these Oreo things every Christmas with using like crushed Oreos and then freezing it and then covering it in white chocolate.
Ooh, that is good.
Reminded me of that. Those Oreo things are pretty good.
Could use a little more frosting though, in my opinion.
Well.
At least to fill it out.
In all fairness, there's a lot at the bottom right now.
Oh,
so
well,
that
would explain things. It probably just leaked out.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That actually was pretty good. So far off to a great start. But let's talk about our entrees. Let's go through that food roll call. Now, I'll start out this roll call.
Are you?
Because
Are you really?
I am. You know what? You know why? Because I'm predictable. Okay? If you've been following us, then you know what I'm going to get. I'm getting that crispy chicken sandwich. You know what? This is a buttermilk crispy chicken sandwich, which you know that means it's going up against Mickey D's. And we all know, as we've discussed over the last few episodes,
How shitty they are?
oh, funny. You know, it's how hard they are to beat. We saw from Wendy's, which Wendy's did a terrible job with a lot of different things. So now we've got a real contender, because this is the only other one that's a real buttermilk crispy chicken sandwich that is going head to head with, so far, the one that I think makes the best chicken sandwich, Mickey D's. Now, when it comes to burgers, that's a different situation. Now, for fries, we all got the same thing. We got the classic Arby's seasoned curly fries, which is a new one for the series because no other restaurant has done the curly fries.
Or at the very least, we didn't get them.
Well, we haven't gotten to any of them yet. Granted, Wendy's, I don't know if they still did that natural cut sea salt thing. They may have stopped that a long time ago.
They did, unfortunately.
Did they? That might explain why they tasted so meh. But that's my entree. Who is going next?
I can go next if you
Alan,
like.
you want to go next? Tell us what you got.
Well, it looks like I got the free cheese off of the steak menu.
Sweet Jesus.
Oh, yeah, it looks really good. Looks like we got a lot of
Like
nice...
diabetes.
Oh, yeah, it is diabetes in a nutshell.
Well, it's not like we're what's that one YouTube channel that always used to like make like lasagnas out of meat.
That seems like it's really excessive, too. Let's be honest.
Oh, I can't remember them because I think part of me wants to think maybe they just all died because of like a heart attack or something.
They made those huge meals because they were all like bodybuilders of various types.
Oh, was that the situation?
Yeah.
Was it?
I can't remember their name. It's been so long.
That and
They
whiskey.
would make those huge meals, chow down on them, and just go work and burn out the calories.
It's not Man versus Food. That was an actual TV show.
Yes, absolutely. But the three cheese here, I believe it looks like we have cheddar, we have some Swiss here, and we also have what seems to be some American. So it's going to be an interesting thing. It looks like we have some Angus steak, I guess, shredded into strips here. Pretty nice presentation, sans the fact that it literally looks like it's going to fall straight onto my hand and then off onto the plate. Little sloppy, but personally, I like it. I mean, I was always a purveyor of Sloppy Joes, so wonderful sandwich, mind you.
All right. Mike,
Go next.
you want to tell us what did you get? Because I can see one thing. You've got the Shamrock Shake knockoff.
Epic meal time.
Epic Meal Time.
Yeah,
that was them.
I got one of the three legends.
The Three Legends.
I got the Texas brisket.
So are you the good, the bad, or the ugly? It's the ugly.
Should definitely be ugly.
Alright.
It's just brisket, onion, breaded onions on the
Show the camera. There you go.
barbecue
He
sauce.
doesn't want this stuff to fall out, so I can appreciate that.
Oh,
I can too. A slight tilt ain't bad. No. Okay.
And then I got the cheese to go with the curly fries. And then the Annie's mint shake. Mint chocolate shake.
The Mickey D's Shamrock Shake knockoff.
I say this is better though.
Really? Well,
Yes.
we'll get to that soon. But Sam,
Like everyone, curly fries. Nice long string there. I just went with a nice standard beef sandwich. Nothing too fancy here. Should have gotten some cheese, but what you gonna do? I also got the Oreo bites, and I am a sucker for the potato cakes. They're not
that's a
hash browns.
potato cake. Oh,
Yeah.
I thought that was breaded fish.
No, they are potato cakes. They're much thicker than any of the other hash browns or similar items that you'll get from another place. And they lack a little bit of the crisp, although they do not have a nice crispy outside. They're nice and soft on the inside.
Interesting. What interests me also is that the potato cakes, they seem like potato squares, like the ones you would get at like quick restaurants, like trucker stop restaurants, where they have those big old breakfasts. They're usually on the breakfast menu, as I find. But
They are technically a breakfast item.
Oh,
but
absolutely.
They serve them you all the day.
I mean, don't get me wrong, they're fantastic pieces.
I mean, one of these days we'll have to do the Speedy Cafe, which is 24-hour, like all entrees all the time, and that is a truck stop. It's not like a traditional truck stop, but it is a truck stop. Like traditional truck stops have like showers, and some even have gyms. I don't know any
Some
truck ever
get
goes
pretty
to a
fancy.
gym, but this one at least has a place for you to park your truck. Like semi trucks we're talking about, not your pickup, but that should be obvious.
Like the Grill Boys.
Now, I will say one thing about this sandwich real quick. I had it made fresh, just like I do with every one of these fast food restaurants. And I can tell you this, it's got some crunch. It's got texture. Now, the breading itself has a little bit of flavor to it. But Wendy's texture was meh, had no flavor to it. So this one's off to a good start. The only problem is there ain't a lot of chicken in there. You know what I'm saying? It's lacking a lot of chicken. And that's probably why you got so much crunch, because most of it is breading. So, in terms of value, once again, McDonald's looks like it's heading in the right direction.
Well, it seems as though that they've also perfected the sort of trifecta when it comes to chicken. We're talking about the McChicken, the buttermilk crispy chicken. Their specific sandwiches that do use chicken products have always been, and excuse me, sorry, always will be probably some among the best in considering the fast food
There
industry.
is the chicken nugget, which is probably the most eaten food in the United States. If
The
you
big
think about
sign.
it. No, actually, it's not. That's not what it is. It is actually whole cut chicken breast fillet now. It's been that way. Now this pink slime thing came into people's attention a few decades ago.
Actually,
Or at
where
least
did that originate?
Maybe from Super Size Me or something like that. We talk about this once in a while, but we've talked about McDonald's so much. I think maybe this time we should focus a little bit more on Arby's here.
But we forgot one thing.
What's that?
None of us actually said what we were drinking.
We are getting to that because the last thing we normally talk about is the sodas, and we'll address that in a bit. But the entrees have enough to go over by themselves, I'd say.
And if I may, with my sandwich, the onions seem very, very good, considering as a compliment to the, I guess you can call it brisket, same as him. But the way that the 3 cheese is, it complements, but you don't really taste much of the cheese, and you don't get much of the flavor or the texture. It really seems like a downside, to be honest. It seems like a lost opportunity.
Seems too subtle, in other words.
Way too subtle.
Yeah.
They could have really maximized the flavor on there, especially with cheese being so versatile.
Now, what I've noticed, our sandwiches are pretty much almost exactly the same. The difference is the breading.
Mm-hmm.
He's got cheese. I don't, but I have barbecue sauce.
Oh, sure.
Other than that, it's the same exact sandwich.
It almost seems like there's like a signature sauce on here as well, and it seems to overpower. It really takes away from the
Quick
sandwiches.
question. Is it actually like the Arby sauce?
No,
Is
it's
that
like
what
it's a lighter sauce, almost like Worcestershire. However the heck you pronounce it.
Worcestershire is?
Worcestershire?
Worcestershire.
Worcestershire.
Yes. It's hard for me to pronounce. I apologize.
Worcestershire.
I think it's a German sauce, is it?
I think so.
Funny that I'm German and I can't even speak it.
I'm very tiny German, but I think it's in my. Well, I'm sorry. I'm almost 50% German. I apologize for my mom.
I apologize, audience. We're having a white people moment discussing our small percentages of Lord only knows what history.
All completely unverified. You know, all of this is basically just lore based on what our parents told us. I mean, none of us have actually taken a swab of DNA and sent it in. By the way,
My family, my mom's side of the family, they actually have 5 books of every single family member in the family for the last 20 generations and where they came from.
That is unique.
That is.
And on
My family did the
dad's side of the
research.
family,
Apparently,
our family has been in Ireland, and my grandfather's side was traced back all the way down when the Vikings came to Ireland.
Interesting.
My family just did the research, and apparently I'm related to Mother Goose, who was an actual person. Who knows?
Good heavens. But you know those DNA tests where they tell you what your genealogy and ancestry is? Totally bogus. You know how they know? They tested twins and triplets and got completely different results. And they're all proprietary technologies, so they don't disclose their methodology.
Let's get back to the food, though.
That is true. Let's talk about the
Actually,
DNA of the food.
Quick question for anyone in the audience. Any of you know a place where we can get DNA tested? I'd be interested to know, because I want to know exact results of my DNA. Like the
You
actual
mean Aunt
AT.
Jemima?
No, that's my blood type.
Let us know in the comments, audience.
That's true. The difference between all of us and Sam is Sam has become one with the food. Much like how Mike has become one with the bovine. But that's a different
my
story for a different day.
Oh
So am
my
I the
God.
only one that hasn't become one with something now?
You'll get there.
You're one with the pig.
No. No. He's maybe some sort of chicken or bird because he works where a place where a bird is a symbol. But not getting that involved. Moving away. So I'm almost done with this chicken sandwich, and I believe I have an assessment for the people here. What I feel...
Do you really?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I do. I feel the lettuce, for one, should have been a whole piece of lettuce, because otherwise it makes a big mess. This kind of falls all apart. Little side note on that. Texture, totally on point. Flavor, definitely on point. That buttermilk, the buttermilk methodology of making chicken sandwiches, so much better. And I'm seeing it's catching on. You know, it's going around. And it adds flavor. The flavor that you get from making buttermilk versus regular is so much different. It is a much better palette of flavors. There's something about it. You can't really put your finger on it, but it hits home just right. I just wish there was more chicken in here, because that's what makes it feel like less of a value. Now, I will say this. Being the large value meal for this was like $8.50 approximately.
Roundabout.
That is about the same price you would pay at McDonald's for a large. But I will say this, you get more French fries than you do at McDonald's. And by the way, McDonald's has been known to cheat and teach their employees how to skimp on fries. Ever notice how they fold in the center on the bottom? Some McDonald's actually hold the center on the bottom so that less fries can get into the little packaging, just skimping you on fries.
Actually, I was never taught that.
Well, it's a controversy that's recently going around.
Oh, well,
Really?
So back when I worked at...
Before that, we'd try and never worked at McDonald's, but at previous fast food joints I worked at, we would just try and cram too many fries down the thing at one time, and they just kind of get stuck at the top and shake it a little loose, and there you go. You have a half full fry container.
With us, the way I was taught, that scoop, you do one scoop, and whatever when you go to fill it up, whatever falls out is out. Whoever stays in stays in, and that's the way it goes.
Now here at Arby's, they don't skim because look, it's a square bottom. This is where it's like if it was like this, like McDonald's, they actually teach you to squeeze it like that at the bottom, so you can't cram as many in. I can't confirm.
As you just lost fries.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing: it's not like that at every McDonald's. Okay, it's a controversy that's only recently been going around because some people are suing fast food places for cheating on the food. Like, remember when Subway, for instance, got caught only having 11-inch footlongs when it was supposed to be 12-inch?
Now they have measuring sticks on every station.
Well, it used to be that it really was 12 inches when they made the dough, but during the cooking process, it expands and then contracts a little in certain ways, and that's what made it 11 inches. Ultimately, though, when the lawsuit was made, the one who filed the lawsuit did actually lose. But because it was such a public controversy, they ultimately changed the methodology to make sure people didn't get mad. Regardless of the lawsuit, bad PR is still bad PR, and this is the only way to fix it for them. So they did end up fixing it. Now, he could have won the lawsuit, but then there was some sort of weird stipulation that he tried to impose on Subway, and that's what ended up making him lose it. I'd have to look back into the case, so don't quote me particularly on any specific details, but that's kind of the gist of it.
Absolutely.
But just saying, people notice when you're being skimmed.
Yes, bad PR is bad PR, as you said, but some people actually take the mentality that bad PR is still PR.
Yeah, some people say good or bad PR, it's still PR. Yep. You know, or it's basically free advertising. Some people thrive off of that, you know?
And for some systems it works all right.
Some, but not all.
Now, I will say this. One thing that no other place has gotten right is the Wendy's PR team on Twitter. Am I right?
Actually, have you seen what Arby's does for its PR stuff on social media?
No.
I can't say that I have.
They do some impressive things.
Really?
Not too long ago, I saw someone took all these cardboard boxes that we have, cut them up, and made, like, Final Fantasy characters out of them. Like, there's one of Cloud with his Buster Sword, and it's all decked out and everything.
That's amazing. All right.
They do a bunch of anime memes through the food. It's all through the food. Well, food and packaging. So, they do some impressive things. It hasn't gotten the showmanship quite of Wendy's, but a large portion of that is just, you know, what makes a meme.
Ooh. Oh, okay, Mike, you are going on so hard about that shake. Tell me, what is that shake telling you? Watch your mouth.
Watch your mouth, boy.
It is just that good. It's just, the blends of the mint and chocolate is just perfect.
I'll have to get one myself.
Why don't you compare?
One of my favorite mint candies is actually the Andes Mints. Because to me, it's the perfect blend of chocolate and mint.
Not thin mints?
Huh?
Not thin mints?
No. What?
Snazzy. Okay, so lately my phone's been doing this weird thing with Facebook images where I'll click on one in a gallery and it will take me to a different one. And...
Oh. AR?
Wow, a 360 image, but this is on Arby's thing.
Oh, and you thought that this was... It's a 3... Okay, I got you.
Well, no, I clicked on this one.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll have to put some links in the description to some of these, because otherwise you really just won't be able to view them as nice as possible. And being a 360 image, how fitting.
That is
Good on you, Arby's. Now, Mike, please tell me, how does it compare to McDonald's? Again, because everyone knows about the Shamrock Shake, but I don't see many people flocking to Arby's for that.
Don't die.
No guarantee.
You know what? McDonald's, it's just like, it's mint and cream. It's more of like a creamy mint.
Good heavens, someone's popular.
It's
Oh, wow.
It's more like a creamy mint.
Oh wow! Once again, we'll have to post links. Same links, but so it's more of a creamy mint. So it's not really like a solid it didn't feel like a solid substance that was turned liquefied. It feels just something like that was liquid all along.
It's like it's whipped cream and mint. That's all.
I think
like,
you'll enjoy this one.
Let me see.
It's what all the.
Let
Yeah,
Mike talk.
alright.
Let Mike talk.
It's like the Shamrock Shakes just taste like whipped cream and mint. Where this is, there's whipped cream on the top, but it tastes. It's got the perfect blend of chocolate and mint.
So it's a more full-bodied experience, a thicker.
Yeah,
Would you say
it's
thicker and more genuine to the flavors it's trying to pervade?
Mm-hmm.
All right,
More
All right.
true to the flavors, really.
Well, then
this
ma-
tastes
maybe-
exactly like an Andy's mint.
Well, then maybe people should be coming here. And is this a limited time thing that they have this?
I'm not fully sure, but you know
It
what?
didn't seem like it was a limited time. It may be. I don't know.
You know, I first had this, the Andy's mint shake, last year in the fall. So this is now March after St. Patrick's Day, and it's still around. And it's been there since around Thanksgiving.
You know, maybe people have the wrong idea about what their expectations should be. And that is the fact-burning information you will find on this channel. Go to Arby's for a mint shake, not McDonald's.
And maybe give it a shot. Maybe you might like it more than the McDonald's shake, just like
that's what we do. We compare the food. We talk about it. Now, we got to move on, though. The French fry. We have had many a fry, and actually, I found out. I want to bring something up. I was wrong about McDonald's French fries because I remember I was talking about how the French fries were not vegan because they were mixed with some sort of something involving the meat, some sort of broth, and beef broth. So I found out they stopped doing that a while ago because it upset a lot of vegetarians and vegans, and they just simply wouldn't eat it.
It's cooked in the same oil as the McNuggets.
Not
A lot of places stop doing that.
they did change it because
They're all separate fries usually.
yes, one of the reasons in McDonald's case is because people were not ordering it because instead of a potato, they were getting meat and potato, which is something that was turning them off. And they want more customers to eat it, so they made a swap or a change in how they do it. And I forget what type of oil they use now.
Was it like a soybean oil or something like that?
No, I think it's still corn or peanut oil. It might be corn oil.
Some form of vegetable oil.
It is some sort of typical oil. It could be. Regardless, it's one of the typical oils you would use to fry
Not
something.
peanut oil, though.
Probably not peanut oil, maybe because of someone having a possible reaction to it. I know peanut oil technically doesn't have that protein that people have the reaction to, but out of safety and just sheer skepticism, people would probably be turned away from peanut oil too. I can understand that.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, if you have a peanut allergy and
So-
it's that severe, I wouldn't even let myself near.
Yeah, some
anything
places you
with it.
walk in, there's peanuts laying around everywhere in boxes, like Five Guys, and you don't even. And if you've never been there,
Texas Roadhouse.
yeah, then you're in for a shock. But these fries, obviously hard to compare to the rest of the fries because
These are cool.
these are seasoned, for one, and two, they're curly. Every other fry we've had has been maybe a little salt, a little bit of flavor somewhere in the main ingredients, but not like this heavily. This is seasoned to the point
This
where
is literally
it's-
seasoned salt.
Like if you're like me and you're really sensitive to spice, it's got a light burn to it as it goes down your throat. Believe it or not.
very light, actually.
Very light,
Eh.
but still bearable and quite tasty. And despite the fact some of them are a little limp, if you were to ask them, hey, could you put it in a little longer, then you would get that crunch to it. You know what I'm talking about? And flavor-wise, I gotta hand it to Arby's. Everyone should like a seasoned curly fry. It's got so much flavor going on. It's got so much going for it. It's got the texture. It's got the flavor. And not many places are doing it unless you go to another like actual non-fast food restaurant. I've seen it in some places. Maybe sometimes waffle fries, like seasoned waffle fries. But as far as
waffle fries in ages.
Waffle fries.
you are in for a treat when we go to Ashbury's because they have seasoned waffle fries. They are so delicious. But what I'm getting at is it's hard to compare these. These are unique in the sense that to everything else we've had. I mean,
as far as the channel goes, yeah.
It's really hard to compare.
Grant, I go to Rex too much to not be able to, but
well, my assessment of these fries probably at least, if not the best, at least second best.
What would you rate as the best at that point?
Burger King.
Burger King beats them out.
Burger King, because Burger King's always had a unique formula where it's just been Flavor City. I don't know what it is about their fries, what they do different, but it is so good.
I know they use a bit of a different kind of salt, I believe.
It's possible. I mean, they have changed their recipes over the years.
Oh, absolutely.
I remember when I was really young, they were a lot better. They're still really good, especially if you get them fresh, but they are a completely different experience than what you're getting with an Arby's fry.
Absolutely.
Arby's, they deal with sauces and spices and things that other restaurants don't dabble into heavily because it's a very polarizing thing. Either you hate it or you love it kind of situation when it comes to spice. Arby's did a really good job of balancing that out and giving you the options to choose how far one way or the other you want to go. So good on you, Arby's. You've got my vote as one of the better fast food franchises that we have tested out on this channel. Now, that being said, I'd like to hear your guys' opinion since we've all had them.
So,
want to go first?
Sure, why not? Personally, with Arby's fries, I've grown up on them. I've personally had them quite a lot. When I used to go out, like, to fast food restaurants, usually my aunt or my mom would go to Arby's. And, you know, the curly fries were always something that I would ask my mom for, only because the seasoning is fantastic. I grew up on it. Perhaps I'm a little biased, sure. But the way that it is seasoned, not only that, but the way that the crunch is, it's consistent throughout. No matter what batch you find or what batch you end up getting, you're almost always going to end up with that perfect crunch and the perfect seasoning, in my opinion.
Yeah, you know what? That consistency is something that I have yet to see been done on the big scale, because I've been to a number of different Arby's restaurants. The fries are always almost exact in parameters, whereas McDonald's can be one way. Because some of them are family-owned, some of them are corporate, and they have slightly different variations. I don't think Arby's has deviated very far.
Not at all. It's actually
from place to place.
very it's very consistent with the case of having their fries seasoned and cooked the way that they have been. It's just one of those things where it's bravo, seriously, Arby's, for having such a consistent way of cooking your food, especially your fries.
It's nice to know that you could go pretty much to any Arby's, and if you like something, you'll find it just the way you like it at another Arby's.
Absolutely.
Now, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sam.
I was just thinking about how you were saying, and now that I'm thinking about it, Arby's is like the machine of fast food joints. All of their food is extremely consistent. Like, I haven't had their entire menu, don't get me wrong there. But the fries come out almost identical all the time, regardless of which Arby's you go to. The potato cakes come out almost identical, no matter which Arby's you go to. All the sandwiches that I've had multiple times have been pretty well suited to that exact. They are a literal machine of the fast food world.
Perhaps a very well-oiled machine as well. Their staff members seem
Pun intended. They were just talking about it.
Well, I mean, they have these sort of things, it seems, down to a science.
But I will say this, not every Arby's has certain items. Like, for instance, this is the first time I've ever been to an Arby's and seen a buttermilk crispy chicken sandwich. We went to an Arby's not too long ago, and I got a Reuben because I didn't see anything that was familiar to me. Maybe I just didn't see it on the menu. But
Well,
I didn't see it there, but maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong.
Well, that was also how long ago that we went. Maybe it's something that was just added to the menu.
That's a fair point. It was a number of months ago. It was in the middle of the winter, wasn't it?
I think so.
It began in the winter.
Okay, yeah, that was a few months ago. Okay, but Mike, fries, how do you like them?
You know what? It's a staple of Arby's. It's been there for God who knows how many years.
You know, you're very right. When people think Arby's, when they're thinking Arby's, think the curly fries immediately.
And the beef and cheddars.
Yeah, like a lot of this stuff is sliced foods, like sliced meats on bread, and they've got some deviations going on, but they're knocking it out of the park. And it's funny because I don't know a lot of people that come to Arby's. I don't know if you've noticed this, but like there is no one here, and that's shocking considering how good the food is. Speaking of, remember when they did the venison?
The venison. I seem to remember that vaguely.
It was in the news. It was one day, very limited. But wasn't it also gotten sourced by local hunters?
I believe so, and that was actually the first time I've ever seen a fast food restaurant actually reach out to local hunters or local meat.
Yeah,
but unfortunately, though, the one place that's offered pretty much all year round and still offered today is in Colorado.
Wow, yeah, that'd be too far of a drive for us. But
so our friend Jason
could do it. Yeah. Jason could do that. That lucky.
You know what he could do? He could freeze a couple of sandwiches and FedEx to me.
No.
Well, that'd be hilarious. It wouldn't be so genuine, would it?
No.
But that is an interesting prospect of getting sourcing the meat locally. And say what you want about hunting or not, it's more humane than a slaughterhouse. Okay, fact of the matter, you can be against meat completely, but when you get right down to it, when you hunt and eat what you hunt, the animal grew up in the wild, lived in the wild, did what they wanted in the wild. They weren't stuck in a cage. They weren't forced fed. They got to live their lives to adulthood, and honestly,
and they hopefully die quickly.
Generally, it's very fast, and then everything is used, especially with wild boar. They're so big. They're like 500-700 pounds of meat. I know on YouTube there's a few hunters that get these wild boar because they're invasive in some places, and they use it to feed the local orphanages.
Which you could use a lot of the meat from those boars.
That is 500 pounds of usable meat. I mean,
you've got ham.
For real, that's a good reason to do hunting versus farming in many cases. We're not here to get political, but I am saying that the fact that Arby's did that, and if I remember correctly, and that's if they got it from local hunters, I think that's a great way to remain sustainable without being, the bad guy, which Arby's being the good guy, who would have thought?
Honestly, I see Arby's as kind of the good guy, Greg, of this whole entire series.
Arby's is surprisingly underrated. But Sam, did you talk about the fries yet?
No. Honestly, I do enjoy them. Do not misunderstand me in any respect for that. However, you guys are talking about how the curly fries here are one of the memorable things, and although I don't necessarily disagree with that, I was brought up primarily for a competing restaurant. My family wasn't per se anti-Arby's or anything, but we had a preference in its competitor, Rax, because it's literally right down the street, 3 blocks, I think?
I think so,
Here?
Yeah.
See, that's the funny thing is I've never heard...
Right there.
I've
literally
never
across
heard,
the street.
Okay.
Okay, you know what? I've seen that
Not-
sign, but I've never. I didn't even know that was a restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never heard of it before. Until
It's actually more popular
Okay.
in other states.
kind of like Hardee's versus
Yeah.
A big part of the reason why you don't hear about Rex,
Carl's Jr.
Rex
Same
the same
restaurant.
way, is because although yes they were, I feel like I got something going on. My mouth's all sorts of weird right now. I just had teeth pulled, so forgive me if I sound weird or
So
whatever.
it's all good.
But a big part of why Rex is not well known at this point is roughly 20, 30 years, I think it was ago, they were on equal terms with Arby's. They were both well known, they were very popular, and they were both gunning for that spot. Unfortunately, the owner of Rex made some unfortunate stock choices and ended up having to sell his, everything. So, as of, I think, 5 years ago is when I last looked at this number, there was only about 20 remaining racks in the entire country.
Talk about a mental misstep.
Yeah, and we are lucky enough to have one right down the street.
Well, we'll have to go
But-
there sometime.
Agreed. But since I was raised on that, curly fries to me is something of Rex. The beef is something of Rex. When I grew up thinking that Arby's copied Rex. Lo and behold, they were simply competing entities.
Gotcha.
Children.
So there you go. Perspective matters. Perspective. Now,
That
okay.
being said, like I said, food's great. Love the food either side. I just
All right. I got
Yeah,
you.
there's a legacy over
It's like
there.
a Pepsi versus Coke kind of thing almost.
I remember when I was
Except Pepsi isn't dying out that bad.
No. Okay. How about? Well, no. It's almost like saying Hardee's and Carl's Jr., which is the same entity, but different depending on what part of the country you're in, and saying they're competing against each other. They're so similar, they might as well. But
That seems like a strange thing.
yeah, I know. I'm trying to draw some analogy, and it's just not coming out right.
Think about that while he says whatever he
Well,
was going to say.
I remember when I was younger, we used to go to Rex and Arby's.
See, I've never been to Rax. Am I the only one who
Nor
hasn't?
am I.
But the reason
I've never heard of Rax.
the reason why we stopped going to Rex though is because the one right outside of our neighborhood, quite literally, it closed down for that reason.
And it's unfortunate, too, that the business owner would make such a misstep. But then again, who could really predict the stock market? Let's
That
be
is
honest.
very true.
On top of that, is Rax more of a low income area kind of restaurant, or are they more median income?
That I couldn't really tell you because, like I said, they were initially on the same platform level. However, given what they have going on the interior, I would actually venture to guess that they aimed for a higher class market.
Actually,
tried
there
for
used
a
to be a
little bit
second one
classier,
here.
yeah.
They have a salad bar in there.
That sounds pretty
I mean,
middle class.
Good salad is kind of expensive. at
They
the
had a
same
second
bar.
one even farther down the street at one point.
Oh.
At one point, yes, but I think that second one closed down.
We'll have
all
to
the way.
visit
Yeah, it's
Rax
now
before
a,
anything detrimental
lone
happens to
place.
that one.
They also have a discount menu. We need to start.
We need to just go to Rax one of these days.
We really do.
But anywho, we've got
Back to Arby's.
I think this should be a good way to segue into the drinks.
the drinks, yes, because every time we talk about this,
Let me go refill mine then.
why don't you go get and fill yours here while I talk about this real quick.
I mean, I still gotta have a cup, so I'm okay.
I've got a little bit too. So I mean, every episode we talk about this, the soda, because everyone seems to have Dr. Pepper. Everyone's either got Coke or Pepsi.
Nope.
Okay, there's a few exceptions like Mellow, Yellow.
Rex has Mr. Pip.
There's also like Mr. Sub has RC.
Which
Right.
Royal Crown is actually really good to me.
It
Personally,
is.
I like it a lot.
I
better.
find it enjoyable. It's very hard to find in a restaurant.
It
It has
is.
Rex too.
But
Hey, Mike.
but the point is, there's a different. You can get the same drink, but the consistencies are very different.
It seems like the syrup in
Pepsi or
these
RC?
drinks, personally, is a little bit thicker. It's actually a little more potent.
I agree.
I think it was RC.
I think so too.
I personally
It's
think.
been years though since I've gone. So
So, okay, really quick before we end,
Right.
My vote on this, because I had Dr. Pepper,
You have a vote.
because I try to. Almost every restaurant seems to carry Dr. Pepper, because I think it is still a third-party entity. It's not owned by Coke or Pepsi.
I think it was bought. I thought it was bought out.
They might have been bought, but the point is, a lot of places have it, so it's easy to kind of draw comparisons to. My personal opinion is that Arby's did a good job of balancing out their.
It's owned by 7-Up.
Really? So it's not.
It's neither Pepsi or Coke.
So yeah, okay, that's weird. Well, my point is, the syrup is thicker, I feel, than places like McDonald's, and the carbonation is not overwhelming, like at some other restaurants.
Snapple.
It seems much more flavorful in terms
Yeah,
of...
it's more full-bodied, is what I would say, if you're going wine country, but I would say, overall, it's better. But what say you guys?
Compared to a can of soda of the same type, personally, I think Arby's nailed it the closest, in my opinion.
I mean, a canned soda is about the median. It's not the expensive, like the bottle. Which, if it's bottled in glass, then it's probably got cane sugar, triple distilled water, that sort of thing. Thicker syrups. But that's why it's $1 per little glass bottle.
Oh, absolutely.
There's a difference. Like this is a really good, consistent, happy medium that I think they did.
Absolutely. And like I said, with Arby's, I personally think they have gotten the closest to as if you were having a regular can of soda.
Yeah, I think unless you go to a genuine sit-down restaurant, you're probably not going to find a better, free refill soda without paying a considerably higher price.
Oh,
no.
I've seen a lot of places personally with free refills regardless over at the restaurants, but I did encounter one that had paid refills, believe it or not. I encountered one. I can't remember off the top of my head which one it is, but it did have paid refills where you had to pay per cup. And they were a little bit shady about it, too, because they would automatically refill you.
As of the 29th, it was bought up by Keurig.
They were a little shady about it, so...
Now these two are going on about something. What are you guys...
Okay, so both Pepsi and Coke have ownership of Dr. Pepper, but as of January 29th, it was bought by Keurig.
Honestly, apparently Dr. Pepper is the open source pop.
Well,
so it's like the Linux of...
So you're telling me
yeah.
He didn't need to get a degree. He could have gone with Mr. Pibb is just as real. Mr. Pibb did the same thing when he went to a trade school. All right, now, before we close out...
$18.7 billion deal.
Now, Mike, Sam, what do you think about the sodas?
I'm enjoying what I got, which is, just for a point of reference, is Mountain Dew with a splash of lemonade. And it's got a nice little zing to it without being too harsh on anything.
And what say you comparatively?
Dr. Pepper, you know what? It has got a good mix of the mix.
The
syrup and carbonation.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then on that note, let's have a cheers. And call this a success. So thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, check out our other videos, and we'll see you next time.